hard for me to do because my poems have always been so incredibly personal to me, and so it's extremely vulnerable to share them in the world. So this is my coming out with my poetry party.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you just a little bit about how I came to poetry. And you know, growing up as a child, I had a very volatile, very dramatic family life. My mom was very ill with schizophrenia and bipolar, and so there was a tremendous amount of drama and a tremendous amount of tumult. And I didn't really know what to make of it all, except that I got really scared. And so I would seek refuge. And the place I would seek refuge was in nature, primarily. And so I just would leave the house and go climb trees, and that would calm me down. And then I would just learn to listen deeper into myself. And I think any writer would say, really, you're just a scribe. You're just sort of listening for what wants to come through you. And I think that listening started developing at about the age of 4, really young. And I was thinking it's rather like when you go to the acupuncturist and they take your pulse, and they take your, you know, your sort of superficial pulse, and then they take your deeper pulse. And it's sort of like going into that deeper place of quiet and silence, the place of peace, the place where I could feel my connectedness to all things. And so that's really where it began. And then I found solace and refuge in dancing. So I became a ballet dancer, and in music. I played clarinet. And these were sort of special places for me, and in reading, where I could just be quiet and more internalized, probably too internalized. Probably today I'd have been put on some drug, depression or something. But it was just my way of coping. And I'm very grateful because it brought me to a really intimate connection with nature. So when I left home at 10 years old to go to the Royal Ballet School. That was pretty young. And I was pretty sad at times there because as much as my home life was really rather crazy, I missed them anyway. Because they were my family and I loved them. And so I used to spend my free time climbing trees, always, and in the music room playing piano. And dancing, of course, was a no-brainer, doing that every day. And then one day we had, and I can't remember quite how old I was, but we had a poetry reading in my class. And I chose a poem by D.H. Lawrence, and it was called Snake. And I can remember vividly reading that poem. And I remember the room shifting and things changing. And I thought, something is happening here. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but these words are transformative. And we're all having a transformative experience through this beauty of this poem about nature. So D.H. Lawrence became very inspirational to me. Also Shelley, Percy Bysshe Shelley was a huge inspiration for me, one of the romantic poets. And the way he would talk about nature and the moon and the light, and I just became very inspired and realized that there's a tremendous power to the word. And when we bring things to word, we create. I really feel we create, and so that is something I feel very strongly about. And after ballet, I actually ended up making my living more as a public speaker, but about other things, but still to do with nature, to do with healing in nature. So it's been in my blood all my life. So when that happened, I was like, okay, what's going on here? And I started writing. And again, sometimes it would just feel that it was like a poem wanted to be written, not so much that I wanted to write a poem, but that a poem was out there. And it was wanting someone to bring it through. And that's mostly my experience with writing, especially with poetry. And when it's done, it's just a joy of a sort of co-creative experience with the universe, with spirit, and with the earth. I call